Welcome to Instructional Cycle 2. This cycle goes from October 2nd to November 3rd. We're just going to do a quick overview of the cycle in general, and we'll look at things that are the same as Instructional Cycle 1 and some things that are different from Instructional Cycle 1. So the first thing that is the same is that we are still doing the paths to mastery, meaning that you have to complete all of your graded assignments within the OHS, along with coming to or watching at least 5 recordings and completing the ticket out the door questions that go with them. You'll find the question, or you'll find the quizzes that you have to take along with your Class Connect recordings that have the passwords in them. All of that's still going to be in the same place under Mastery Activities, TOD quizzes, CC recordings, that module right there. All right, so that is staying the same. Let's scroll through our instructional cycle here. Just like we had study guides last time for the unit test, instead of just doing one big unit test, we're going to have 2 unit quizzes. And so I'll have a study guide for each one of those. So this study guide you'll use after week 1. Nothing in week 1 will necessarily be on your study guide. So weeks 2 and 3 will be part of this study guide, and week 4 will be part of this study guide here. And they're linked later on so you can see exactly where you need those study guides. We still have the required assignments checklist. It's just a list of all of those things that you have to complete in the OHS in order to earn this 100 in this mastery points. It's a good thing to use all throughout the cycle, but definitely something you want to reference at the end of the instructional cycle. This is something different. We have an honors project this time around, so it's its own module. It has the lesson, the assignment, the Dropbox. Within this, there's a video of me explaining what the honors project is, so go in there and watch that. And then it's laid out the same by week. The one thing that's different is that instead of having 6 weeks, we only have 5 weeks in this instructional cycle. Week 1 is focused on the short story Rip Van Winkle, and you're going to do a short constructed response, so a paragraph response in which you will analyze how Rip Van Winkle is an example or fits in with American mythology. So that's pretty much all of week 1. Week 2 starts with a holiday. So that Monday we have off for Columbus Day, and then we get into the American Renaissance. So in this week you'll be reading prose and poetry of Emerson and Thoreau. So you'll read, you'll learn about who they are. They're transcendentalists. You'll learn about their beliefs and what they think about things. And then on Friday, you're going to be assigned to do an extended constructed response, which is going to be like a 5-paragraph essay. And there's something different about this response in that the assignment document is in the OHS, but you're actually going to type and submit your work in USA Test Prep. You'll log into USA Test Prep. You'll see that you're assigned this Transcendentalism Extended Constructed Response. It's the same assignment that's described in this video here. You're just going to actually submit it in USA Test Prep. The reason for that is just for you to get practice with typing in that kind of format, because most of you will take your EOC on the computer and have to type your constructed responses that way. So we're going to just practice with the format there. All right, then we jump into week 3, which is my favorite week because it is about The Raven, an Edgar Allan Poe short story, and The Birthmark, a Nathaniel Hawthorne short story. There's 2 videos kind of explaining each one of them. It's a fun week for me, I think. So you're going to be reading those, and by the end of the week, you'll be taking a quiz. That quiz will cover Emerson and Thoreau, and then The Raven and The Birthmark, the things that you have read previous to the quiz. Then we jump into week 4, which is poetry of Walt Whitman and Emily Dickinson. This is a fun week too. There's a study guide linked here. And the quiz that you have at the end of this week will just be over Walt Whitman and Emily Dickinson and their beliefs and the way that they write. Now, there's one thing I want to show you so you're not freaking out when you get to it. When you look at some of this week, you're going to scroll to the lessons and you'll be like, oh my goodness, there's so much there. It's a little lengthier than most of our daily, the number of lessons that you have to look at. But remember, it's poetry. So the poems that you're reading are short. And then the lessons, so each one that you have to click on, it's not super long. It's just a couple of slides or so. Okay, so don't worry too much about that. By the end of that week, your honors project will be due, and Interim Assessment 2 will open. And then the final week is just your IA5, reminding you to review, or not IA5, week 5, IA2, reminding you to study for that test and take the test during that week. So that is the nitty-gritty of Instructional Cycle 2.